Hello
Hello.
and welcome back to United We Stand, Divided We Podcast. It's crazy stuff going on this last week. So we're just gonna dive right into it because we got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and I got to get more comfortable here.
Oh yes, of course. I'm Robert from the United States, and that is Lionel from the country of Canada, Toronto.
Sorry, my camera's moving for some stupid reason.
Yes, everybody's had a good week.
Lionel from Toronto, Canada, and we're here to talk to you about the important things in life. What's better, M&Ms or Smarties? I'm just kidding. No, we're not going there. Should we start with the? No, maybe we should. Let's leave out the AI stuff first, and I think you wanted to bring up Mr. Musk.
Yeah, he's another issue. But one thing that I saw this last week that I thought was kind of interesting is Elon is wanting to make X compete with PayPal and have it be a payment system. And apparently he's already gone into partnership with Visa. The CEO of Visa has actually confirmed that. And he's wanting to make it like a Zelle, Venmo kind of competitor.
I have to say, for those Canadians that may watch, we don't have Venmo, and some Canadians may not know anything about it. Although, again, we have a lot of American content, so many of us may have heard of it but don't understand it.
But you have a transfer app that's in Canada,
yes,
right?
Not Venmo, but I'm from what I understand, it works very much the same way. It's called Wise, WISE, and it will actually change. Like if somebody from America sends somebody in Canada money, it will do the exchange automatically, tell you about it, tell you what it is. If you're going to send the money, it will tell you exactly what that exchange rate is and how much you have to spend in order for them to get the dollar value you want them to have. Okay, and of course, you can request money from each other. You can even, and at least in Canada anyways, you can get a physical card as well as the virtual card, which you can tap with your phone anywhere.
He's calling it X Money.
X Money.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. Because I have my tech channel, I decided to pay that little bit to get the blue check mark because I found that the algorithm picked the posts up actually better. And I'm sure it's because you're paid. If I had not paid for that, I would have probably be canceling and just closing out my X altogether. I do not stand for anything that man stands for at all. Not one.
Well, I bailed out of Twitter when it was still Twitter, like years ago.
Yeah, but I don't want to lose $60. I mean, it's not a lot, but I mean, I'm just like, I guess I'm battling over it because, and I only did it on, I did it on my tech channel because I wanted to have that extra algorithm kick, and and it has helped.
That's understandable.
But
it's understandable. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, you know, like if I were in the same position as you, would I consider, signing up to Truth Social? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't, by the way, just so as you know.
You might as well sign up to Red Card or whatever that other Chinese social media app was when Twitter got banned, if you're going to do that.
Red Card. No, all I think of is Red Card is the worst map in COD Black Ops 6.
It's red something. I don't know if it's Red Card or not, but yeah. But I just thought it was interesting because, I mean, I would not put my money in his hands of any type. And I'm sure there's, you're going to see people that are just like, they stand behind everything they're doing. And, people talking about his, they call it a gaff where, with the,
a gaff?
His little Hitler wave, and
God.
Everyone's calling it a gaff, like he was saying, "My heart goes out to you." Okay, whatever. The man's a nut job, and he's partnered with a nut job, and our government's going to hell. No, I'm not moving to Canada. So,
well, it would seem that all of the billionaires seem to be getting on board with everything Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's basically, yeah. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say.
some of the policies just a little Donald Trump brand, like because I was talking to my son-in-law. His wife works for the University of Wisconsin in their research department. Yeah. And of course, colleges get grants. He just stopped all grants and all, government loans. Now it's been rescinded. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. But what happened was because he stopped it, it stopped the review board that obviously makes decisions on who gets grants and not. So the University of Wisconsin is not getting some of their grant money. They're going to have to close some of their research departments. They're going to have to, kids are going to have to not have a way of, having education. I'm sure there's people going to be laid off because her school, the University of Wisconsin, he's saying it's $125 million a year in grant money. And this is grant money to do research, people. It's not like grant money to go play soccer. It's doing research for the government and for the FDA and everything else. And I don't know. It's just nuts. My son-in-law has, my stepson has somebody that works for him that he's Indian. He's been in this country 16 years. He's 2 years away from getting his green card. He's got to go back to his home country one more time, and he's worried that he's not going to be able to get back in. He has a child that's born in the States, and he's worried he can't get back to his family because if he leaves, he's afraid he's not going to be able to get back in because he's not a green card anymore.
Well, the way things are going, they may kick the kid out and say he's not American because that's what Trump wants is to get rid of the what do you call it? When a kid's born here to foreign
birthright naturalization or something like that. Yeah. But I mean, the man's been working in this country for 16 years doing drug research for the FDA. It's not like again, he's not like emptying trash. I mean, I don't know. I could get on the whole rant because it just pisses me off.
Yeah.
But, I'm not putting my money with Musk for sure. So I just thought that was kind of like one more step that he's trying to take to put his foot in the door. That
well, yeah. Listen, if I won $70 million in a lottery today, I wouldn't buy a Tesla. I would. If you've asked me 2 years ago, I always said the first thing I can do is buy a P100D or whatever the hell it was called. But no, I wouldn't buy it because I wouldn't want him having my money. And that wouldn't be the most important thing. And the fact of the matter is, they were the first best electric vehicles. But if you think that they're actually technically still the best, are they the fastest? Maybe they are, but they're probably still not the best anymore. Everybody's making electric vehicles. There's no way you're going to tell me that there isn't another one that's better for you. Where am I pointing? For you. I mean,
there's tons of them, and he's look. There's no doubt the man is a genius, and he was a pioneer in the electric car space. There's no
wait, hang on.
But
no. He wasn't technically a pioneer. He simply basically had the money and the business savvy to push forward other people's ideas. He never invented anything.
Well, he's not an inventor. Mean that he invented it. I wasn't.
Yeah, okay. I'm just being clear.
I didn't mean to say he invented it, but he was a pioneer in getting it brought to mainstream.
Okay, fair enough. I will agree with that. Yes. Yeah. But I mean, if I were gonna, I shouldn't say this. I was about to say if I was gonna not worship, but admire a rich billionaire guy, it would probably be Sir Richard Branson. But then again, everybody seems, if they're rich, to have had some kind of story come out in the negative about what they do or have done. And I don't know if he's had anything. So I'll just say, if you asked me 2 years ago, I would have definitely preferred to say something nice about Richard Branson.
Yeah. So, anyways, but all right. Well, I'm done with my Twitter Elon Trump rant. So, on to
Okay.
the next big news that actually tanked the U.S. stock market to the tune of $1.2 trillion, mind you.
Okay.
Yeah. What is that?
Well, you got to go in there. You can't finish the sentence now.
Yeah, DeepSeek is deep
Bullshit.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah. If you haven't heard of DeepSeek, you're probably not paying much attention because 2 days ago, no one had heard of it. And all of a sudden, they are the news, literally. Whether it's tech news or just news, it's popping up everywhere. And there's guys doing podcasts. It's been on Android Authority, I believe, is the one I showed you last.
yeah,
But some of these things that were coming out originally were, DeepSeek is beating OpenAI and Google at their own game, and so on and so on. And then it started to be, are they like, how did they do this? And how could they possibly have done it this quick? And is it possible they may have been pilfering some code from OpenAI? And that news again today changed to OpenAI now has their evidence, which they haven't presented publicly yet. That to be clear, that they have been pilfering from them, and this isn't the same way like as if you take open source code and you build upon it, like a company saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to I want to build a new phone and sell it to somebody. I'm going to use AOSP, Android open source project, right? But I'm going to call it Jabberwocky OS. And I couldn't come up with another word. I don't know why. Anyways, and then you get to use that and do whatever you want with it, right? You can't call it Android, technically speaking, because Android isn't fully open source. It's built on the same open source code. Well, OpenAI does that too, but everything else that they do to actually uh, train the model, I don't know what's going on my phone. Everything to do to train the model is not open source. Although some point out that they basically pilfer from the entire internet. I want to make this clear. The entire internet can't be pilfered from because it's open. If it's available publicly, then you can actually read and use it. If you have public stuff out there and a model is using that information to learn, that's not shady and shifty because anybody can watch it. So what's wrong with an AI looking at it and learning from it? Now, if you've got private stuff on there and something was pilfering that'd be different. And this appears to be what DeepSeek has done. So it kind of explains a lot about why they suddenly were. But, now we're also seeing, as of the last few hours, some sites or I guess reporters, whatever you want to call them, on the internet are, posting that they've tried it, but they'll stick with Gemini or they'll stick with Chat GPT or, whatever.
yeah.
I'm a little afraid of it.
Well, like I was telling you yesterday, we were first talking about it. I think maybe it was Android Central. I don't know. It's one of the tech blogs I read. He's like, I wanted to see what it was like, and so he asked us some basic questions. And one of the cool things he liked, he's like, yeah, and his thing was, yeah, I see where I guess maybe with time it could be as competitive, but he's going to stick with Chat GPT. He feels like Chat GPT has the upper hand, not upper hand really, has the edge in him continuing to use it because, for example, he had a conversation with Chat GPT about something that his he likes to do his news reading at 9 a.m, and so he gave Chat GPT and OpenSeek Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It gave it like, okay, here's what I want. Me and my wife need a schedule put out. We got to take care of our dog. She's got to go to work. It just sounded like he just gave it some stupid question or like random problem to solve. Like, create me a schedule. Well, he said they both created the schedule, but
Right.
ChatGPT said, "Oh, wait a minute. I remember us conversating about you liking to read your news at 9 in the morning, so I need to incorporate that into my decision making as to how
Yes.
I do,
Yes,
the schedule."
exactly. And just for the record, Gemini does that too, and you know that
Right?
as
Yeah.
well. They updated that a while ago. Now, when they originally announced it so many months back, at first it was kind of like it was a trial period to see how it was going, and only some people had it, and then a little wider rollout. But you still had to log into the website online and type in what you wanted to remember. And at first, it didn't necessarily pull from that right away. It wasn't working the first couple of days, even after doing that. Then it started to work. And then one day, and this is going back a few weeks now. One day, I'm talking to Gemini and asking it questions, and I don't remember what I was asking. I was asking about the best way to do this or that or whatever, and it said, "Well, considering that you like this sort of thing and that your favorite that is that," I'm like, "Wait a minute, what?" I didn't even tell it to remember that. But because the conversation, it must have come up more than once, and it starts to flag that as something that seems important to you. So it should remember that. Now, a lot of people might say, "Oh no, that's just another thing that is going to, I don't want people reading this. It just doesn't. It's not something like if you think that there is somebody like they would have. First of all, they'd have to have about probably 400,000 people because there's literally billions of people using Google in the world. And so 400,000 people have to sit and read and listen to all of your text and audio and watch videos of you all day long. And they'd have to do that with about 450,000 people a day each in order to actually get everybody's information. So it makes no sense. Obviously, you don't tell it some ridiculous, oh, I want you to remember my bank card number and the PIN. I mean, that would just be
Yeah.
stupid, right? Here's the key code to my front door.
Yeah.
Like, no, right? Don't be dumb. In fact, if I tried to tell Gemini that, it might actually tell me that's not a. You know what? I'm curious. I'm going to lie to it. I don't have a key code, by the way, so I'm not giving away any information. Okay. I want you to remember the key code to my front door. It's 47265. Let's see.
I'm still learning how to remember things about you, but unfortunately, I can't save what you just said. Here's what I can remember. How you prefer I respond. Always sign emails with
It's being polite. It's being polite. Now, interestingly, I actually thought it was going to say I can't do that because it wouldn't be secure, which I'm assuming Google will build that into it later. But that was a clever way around it. So that's just kind of one point.
The fact that DeepSeek can't, again, remember things like that, like if you had a conversation, the fact that it can't actually query live data, but it's remembering and using what was put into it. I don't understand why they think that. I guess the whole point and what scared the whole tech sector was the fact that supposedly they did it at a fraction of the cost and came up with the same speed at which it's able to respond and think.
Well, I've heard lots of examples, but let me give you one. Let's say I take 2025. Oh God, what's a good car right now? A Toyota Camry. I'm not saying that's a good car. This is what popped into my head. And let's say I have, I don't know, 5 or 10 of them, and I pilfer only a couple of things from each one. A starter from here. A couple of cylinders from there. Some tires from this one, and I put them all together and I make a new Camry. out of the parts of the other Camry, and then I duplicate it because I've got all the parts. I can take them apart and figure out how to make it now. But I can do it cheaper because I've got all these parts. And I also have cheap labor that makes next to nothing. I don't, have unions, and I'm communist. So all of a sudden I can give you this Camry, which I've now put, turbo boost into. It isn't actually any more powerful because the torque curve is too low. So it might take off on a dime, but it ain't going to go faster. So there's your really, really stupid analogy. But that seems to be what they've done, is they've taken that and they've just put this thing together. No, they didn't do it in 4 months. I don't know why people are actually willing to believe because they said they did it in 4 months that it's the truth. Even if you pilfer the code from someone else, it's going to take geniuses at least a few weeks to completely figure out exactly what that code is doing and then have it actually learn from there, because they had to get it to go out and learn. How are you going to learn all that information in only 4 months? So they're lying. No, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, again, I'm not a programmer, I'm not an AI genius, but being in technology, I do understand, the basis of how technology works. And I don't see how it's feasible to accomplish what they said they accomplished in the time frame in which they
chance
without taking somebody else's already made, information like you just so eloquently described, and coming up with, here we just, basically, hacked it up and made it our own.
Right.
I don't know. Let's take all of this aside, though.
Okay.
All of these people, it is the number one downloaded app on the iPhone, on the App Store for iOS. Okay. Everybody was worried about TikTok being, Chinese sponsored. All the data is going to, China.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that DeepSeek?
Yes.
What was the number? Okay, so all of this badass mumbo jumbo about Apple intelligence, which we all know is not that intelligent in the first place, and the truth of the matter is, it doesn't do anything without OpenAI. Period. It turns out to be complete garbage to the point where everybody and his dog is going, I'm just going to download this unknown Chinese app that asks me for information before I can ask it a question.
Yeah, because you said you had installed it briefly and then you got rid of it.
Oh yeah, I use the sign in from Google because right after that, you just delete it and then you can just revoke any permissions. Right.
But
Google,
before you did the sign in with Google, what was it? Just asking for like name, email address?
It does, but it gives you the sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook options underneath there. I would never do the sign in with Facebook option, by the way. But that said, a lot of people won't do that. They'll literally go, okay, I'll do another email and I'll put in my password. And here's the thing about it. Do you trust a company that just popped out of nowhere to create a password and think that they're not actually looking at it? Since probably 60% of people repeat the same password for some unknown reason on everything they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well,
God help them. I hope they're not doing 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that, right?
Yeah. DeepSeek hits number one on Apple's App Store.
I think they said it was pretty high on Android too, though, in all fairness.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Everybody's wanting to try it, but
you know what? I don't know if they actually will show the numbers this early, but I'm actually curious. Let's see. DeepSeek. God, how does it have a 4.8 rating? Are you completely kidding with me? It's not saying anything about how many. Oh no, it says 10 million plus downloads.
Yeah, I just saw that too. Yeah, that's nuts.
Now I'm curious. Chat GPT.
Apparently, according to this article,
Oh, 10 million plus. Okay.
Yeah, apparently, according to this article, it dethroned Chat GPT as number one. But
Jesus.
people are so worried about that. I mean, this app is a 100% state-sponsored company / application / software. 100% state-sponsored. Even the government officials in China came out and said, "Hey, great job! We're just like the most awesome. You guys are the best, and this is going to take over the world." And blah blah blah. Not exactly that, but obviously paraphrasing. But They came out with big praise for the company and how they're, even though U.S. sanctions them to the ends of the earth, they come up with ways of still beating us at our own game, which is not exactly true. But I don't know. This whole world is getting topsy-turvy, and I just think that people who are rushing to install this and use this app they're asking for more trouble than And go back to TikTok.
It won't be that long before someone says, "Oh, we have evidence that they've been, taking, down, keeping data, U.S. users' data, and we're going to have to ban them now." And inevitably, that just seems like the only way it's going to go, because I don't see it. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to start hearing that from the British government, the Canadian government, the French government, the German government, and they're all going to get on board and say, "No, what's going on? Like, why are we doing this?" And if they're not, I'm going to be pretty surprised, to be honest with you.
Yeah, at least with TikTok, before they got banned and they moved their data into Meta servers, at least they had a server bank here in the States.
Yeah.
DeepSeek doesn't have any U.S. based server bank.
No, it's kind of like when we were
going.
Yeah, it's like talking about that other AI stuff with the, to get the video AI and stuff like that. And that one Chinese company where you had to have a Chinese address. And when they finally opened it up to them to do, anybody else's address, North American, whatever, you still had to give them like way too much personal information to do it. And it's like, why? I mean, like, you're not asking me for money, so why do you want all of my information? That makes no sense. That's like a cop stopping you, say, "I just wanted to make sure that you were having a nice day. By the way, what's your driver's license? Let me see it." Well, for what reason, officer? Because I feel like it. I mean, like, and you're not even in a car. It doesn't make any sense. So, no, people don't download these stupid things. It becomes a fad, and everyone else talks about it. "Oh, I better get it because George got it. George got it because Mary got it. Mary got it because her mother got it. Her mother got it because her other daughter got it." Who cares? What do you like? What can it do that Gemini and Chat GPT, which both have free versions, can't do? You show me somebody out there, make a video and physically, don't talk about it. Physically show me this thing doing a better job than Chat GPT and or Gemini. No, both. Right. Both. I want to see it beat both of them, because if it can't beat both of them, I don't think it can beat either one. At anything. Yeah. I don't believe it.
The Verge wrote an article prior to all this DeepSeek stuff coming out about how, with the integration and partnership with Samsung, how Gemini is definitely going to be the leading AI tool on the market. Keep in mind
the money. First of all, they have deep pockets.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah. Keep in mind, Samsung is not a Chinese-based company; it's Korean. They're not.
It's South Korean, to be clear.
Right. It's actually a friendly state to the U.S. I mean, we're
and their factories, and they have factories in South Korea.
Right.
So,
I don't know that anybody thinks it's a Chinese company, but
I don't think anybody thinks that, to be honest with you. But being clear, right?
Yeah, and actually, I believe I got a notification that my phone is going to be here tomorrow.
Oh my! Well,
if that's true, that's going to be super exciting, and that's like a week. That's like a week and 2 days earlier than what the shipping notification said when I first bought it. So that
dang.
But they did that. That happened last year too, if you remember. That some of the early people that just bought them like right away, they were getting.
Well, you didn't get any phone early last year. You didn't get a new one last year.
No, but the news was out. You're right. I didn't get a phone last year, but I remember people getting their phones like up to a week early for some of the people who bought it right away. And literally, I was watching the event, refreshing my screen, and as soon as the S25 Ultra page went live, I was like, there was no hesitation. I knew exactly what I wanted. I just had to pick the color. It was the only thing I had to
and the biggest difference between that and Google is you actually know for a fact that it went through and you get it on time.
Yeah. But and so moving off of DeepSeek, people don't download it, don't use it. It's made a splash, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal.
Again, for the vast majority of people, they're hearing all this, and what they're not hearing anybody, well, not anybody, but other people saying, at least originally, was that it first of all can only pull information from up to July of 2024. What is that? 5 months ago now, or something? 6 months ago? I mean, it's going, it's a half a year away, right? In the past. So it doesn't pull anything in real time. That's obvious. The other thing is it's not like you can have a conversation with it. You can actually talk to Chat GPT. Like real, for real. And the same thing with Gemini. Having conversations. Gemini is getting updated. I don't know if it's going to take another day or two or a few weeks or whatever, but they've already made the announcements, and the update is going to mean that in the same way you use Gemini, where you can, put a picture in or have it analyze a video or something like that, right? Or summarize rather, or ask it questions of that. You're going to be able to do that in Gemini Live, which means there's no more button pushing at all. You just put Gemini Live on, or as a matter of fact, you can call Gemini and say you want to talk to Gemini Live. I think if you can't do that now, you will be able to in the future. And I have mentioned that already.
I use Gemini all the time when sometimes I was like stumped for a video idea on my tech channel. I went to Gemini. I said, hey, let's create a video about, some, tech topic or whatever the case. I forget exactly what I said, but it's like, oh, here's some ideas. What do you think about these? I said, that sounds good. Let's talk about number 2 more. Oh, number 2 is a great one. And we dug deep into why that was a good video idea. And I was like, okay, can you write me a script for that? Well, yeah, sure. Here's a script for it. And I was like, I changed that because I don't like the way that sounds. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, let's change that. And it changed it. And then I'm like, give me a good thumbnail idea for that. And it gave me a script. I was like, no. I want you to make me the image. And it said, okay, sure enough. And it started generating the image with Imagen. And just like that, I'm like, okay, cool. Now the image was kind of junk. I ended up not using it,
that's an unfortunate part, but that'll get better over time as well.
Yeah.
But you can also, here's the thing about it though, is you can take the image it makes, put it into a different AI generator and say, can you make me a better version of this that looks more realistic or looks more cartoony or looks more anime or whatever it is you're looking to do. And that'll still work. So you can still use one AI and another AI together. But there's just so many options out there. If you happen to pay for ChatGPT or pay for Gemini, great, you've got the best possible models. If you don't and you're relying on the free, then you might as well choose the option that has the absolute best possibilities for what you can do free. And that happens to be Gemini. It's the only one that will do almost everything for free, but with limitations. And those limitations aren't that bad. And they're never asking for my like, oh, you're going to have it free, but after a certain amount, you can't use it the rest of the month. No, it's only so many tokens you can use at a time. But the tokens that you were able to use at a time, when I first tried Chat GPT and the very first early versions of Gemini, was pathetically low. Ask it 10 questions and you were done for the day. That's long gone. You can ask it billions of questions, but you may have to stop the conversation and start a new one. That's it.
Right. Well, I like how you can go back to a previous conversation, whether it be on your mobile or your computer, and you can go into that conversation and you can literally just kind of pick up your conversation like right where you left off. It knows exactly like the context of what's happening. You don't have to like, okay, let's go back into this and have like spell it all out. It's like, okay, you remember number 2 that we talked about? Oh yeah, I remember that. And boom, you know.
Oh, and it's crazy because this is literally one of the first things I wanted it to remember, just because I was testing it. But this is how crazy this is. What's my favorite color?
Your favorite color is red. You mentioned that all the cars you've...
It went on. It was going to go on longer, and he said, "You mentioned this and you mentioned that." What it was actually about to say was it mentioned that all of the cars I have purchased in my life were either red or blue, and they alternated: one red, one blue, one red, one blue. And that's actually true. I didn't even realize I was doing that until I was on about the 4th car, and then I started doing it on purpose. But it's just the way it is. Because I like red or like blue. I don't want a yellow car, and I don't like silver cars. I don't mind them, and they look nice. I just don't want one. I've always liked red, and I've always liked blue on a car. So it remembered that, and so it was. That's what it was about to say. But it does it so conversationally, you know. Oh, you know.
Now I
like that.
I don't use it like to its near what its potential is.
Oh no, not even close.
And most of my stuff is super basic, but I honestly feel like I am a good representation of the average consumer of AI right now. To where it's like this is what most people are not going to be solving, you know, a Rubik's Cube problem, right? You know, I mean,
that's right.
They're going to be like, oh, create me this. Let's shopping list for that. Oh, a schedule for this. And, you know, that's how people are going to be using it. And some, you know, basic, you know, question answer kind of things and stuff like that. So it's definitely gotten a lot better over the last 6 months. It's made huge improvements. And I was telling you earlier too, that on my Google Workspace accounts, I've been notified now that Notebook LM and Gemini are becoming available free. They used to be, I had to pay extra if I wanted that feature in my Google Workspace account, but now I don't. So that's, yeah, I don't know if maybe this DeepSeek has kind of sped that up maybe to where they're giving some of these things for free, whereas before they weren't. I don't know. I mean, with every bad, there's always a good. I mean, there's always 2 sides to every coin. So, you know.
Darn it. It's too hard to find this. I wanted to go into, because when you go in the Gemini app, which eventually it'll be, on the website, in the Gemini app, it'll eventually be available. That's deep research. But the interesting thing is when it's finally available to us, it may be with 2.0 Gemini, not 1.5, which would be even more impressive. But the deep research, it's crazy because you might say to it, I need to know everything that I can possibly know about how to fix a Chevrolet V6, you know, whatever model of engine from 1976 or something like that. And it will go online and it will look at every possible site that it can scrape from. And it could be 15, 30, 40, 60 different websites. And it does all this within a few minutes or maybe several minutes. The longer it takes to look, that means the more information it has to give you. And then it breaks all this down into the research points. Once it's done, you can then actually tell it, can you put this down into point form in chapters? Or something along that line and get it to do that. And if you really wanted to, you could take that entire document, because you can get it to make a document, and put that into Notebook LM and then tell it you want to do this as a project. and put it in I can't remember exactly how to do everything with Notebook LM, but from that you could actually make a podcast out of it where they do the AI voices and talk about it as well. So you could have 3 different forms of all of this information. So if you want to learn stuff, a lot of people say, people are getting lazy and they won't learn. And I understood that. We had that conversation. But the way Google is doing this is they're giving you tools to learn better. There's things about math that I understand today that I didn't 6 weeks ago because I decided to ask Gemini to help me learn. So it works.
Yeah. Speaking about making documents, I wanted to create just a real brief PDF that I could have people download on my tech channel of just the basic steps of, how do you start a smart home? Where do you begin? What should I look at first? Super basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of thing. And so again, we had a little conversation and it kind of broke it out. We fine tuned it. And I'm like, I said, this sounds perfect. He's like, it says, oh, okay, great. I was like, can you write this out for me? And it wrote it out for me. And I literally just put it into a PDF and that was it. I didn't do any editing at all. And it's just a nice little bullet.
And the beautiful thing about it is if you do feel you need to do any editing, you don't have to pull it out and go, okay, well, I'm going to change this. You can just say, oh, hey, can you keep it exactly the same? But there's one line I need to change this one word or whatever, right? And then it will do that and leave everything else the same. If you're specific, if you say, oh, I want that different, I want it to sound different, then it might change everything. But here's the thing. Again, as long as you're still in that same conversation about it, you could say, no, I didn't want you to change it. Go back to the original one and only change that one word, and then we'll do it.
Right. Well, we got to the end of it, and I was like, oh, no. I said, I forgot that I wanted to add a section on, I forget what it was, XYZ. And I was like, can we add that into the existing document? I said, like you said, I don't want to change what's there. I just want to add this as a section.
Yeah. And I've done that too.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's a really important aspect of a smart home and what you're talking about in the rest of this document. And because it understood the context of the rest of the document.
And you bring up another good point in saying that. Not only does it do it the way you're asking it to, but it's doing it in a conversational manner. So it makes you not feel like you're talking to a computer. So you feel like you're talking to an assistant that's actually saying, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'll do that. In that, and I love that. ChatGPT is not there yet because their live stuff is just a conversation. It's that's just a smarter bot you can talk to. Very similar to the ones from 10 years ago, except that it's smarter and responds faster. It sounds more natural. And I remember when we first started doing the podcast and we talked about this, ChatGPT was way ahead. Gemini Live didn't exist yet. And I was like, wow, if they could only make Gemini Live, Gemini do that. And then they announced Gemini Live. And the first time I heard it, I was like, this is better than ChatGPT. And it's gotten better and better and better. And they've made improvements without doing any major upgrades too. They literally push some of this stuff through a server side on their own end. So when you ask the questions and it's acquiring, you get that. The other updates that you get directly on your device are the ones that will do stuff locally. So on your device, for instance, everyone who uses Gemini is using Gemini 1.5 Flash on their device. So if you're asking it a simple question that it only has to quickly do, like to check the time or the weather, it stays basically local, and it just goes and it looks online for the weather or the temperature, or the time or whatever. Simple questions. In the case of a Pixel or the new Samsung phones that you're going to have maybe tomorrow, then it actually is built in locally. So when you ask it to open a document, it's literally doing it only locally.
Yeah. So that's going to be cool. I'm hoping that. It's going to be as cool as I think it's going to be.
I think it's all great. I also think just to put a little bit of a segue, because Canada, United States, a couple of hockey loving nations, I'm pretty sure you got a hockey game you need to want to watch. I'm rooting for your team.
Yeah,
So
probably already losing.
Oh, don't even go there. You're on the air right now. You have to be positive. You can't jump off the bandwagon right now, man.
No, people want realism, and I'm realistically sure they're probably losing. Oh no, it's tied.
They are not.
It's still nothing.
I can guarantee you they're not losing. 100% they are not losing.
It's tied. Nothing.
And that's not losing.
No, it's not.
That's not losing at all. I might as well pin that because I want to know how that's going to go.
So one thing I meant to mention about the phone, which I'm a little. This is one thing I am a little irritated about with Samsung is, and I think we mentioned this in the last week's podcast about how the new phone has QI2 charging, the high speed, wireless capability.
Yeah,
but they did not put the magnet in the phone.
That scares me.
A case.
Yeah, that still scares me because it seems like they have basically made it so that everyone else is just going to end up following suit, right? You're going to see OnePlus's new phone next year or later this year, whenever it is. They're going to be the ones to jump in and say, hey, we're selling a phone for $500 less than everybody else, and we got a magnet in it.
I don't know
where
why.
Google's going to go, well, Samsung didn't put a magnet in it, so we're not going to either. To be clear, though, there is a difference between just buying what looks like a MagSafe case for, say, a Pixel 9 Pro XL or a Samsung Galaxy S23 or 24, and actually getting the S25 that's already Qi 2 ready.
Yeah,
when you get this,
it's got to be capable of that, right?
Yes. The difference is that it has a perfect magnet lineup. It's not just, this third-party manufacturer made a case that's got a magnet on it, and it should fit. This one will line it up dead perfect every time, so you're going to get a much more efficient wireless charge. Even when I put my phone on this cheap wireless charger, it's never sitting perfectly. It's not meant for that phone. It's not meant for any one particular phone. So it's always going to be a little bit off. It's not as efficient. So there's still a benefit to it.
The Samsung case that I got with the phone, because they gave me like $50 credit that you had to use during the purchase, and I didn't want anything else, so I bought like 2 or 3 cases, like whatever. But it has a magnet that's from Samsung, and it's QI2. Q2, however you want to say it. And then I actually went to hunting, and your favorite Spigen. They have one that's actually really badass looking, and I almost bought it. I'm like, I just bought these other 3. It's specifically designed to support the new process. But it's see-through, and it has circuitry in the case.
Oh, that's cool.
You can actually see the circuitry. And it was like, I was like, that's badass. Yeah. You can go look it on Amazon. It's badass.
This case here is the exact same design of case I've been using for 3 iterations of Pixel phones. Obviously, it's a different case for each one because they have a slightly different look. It's thin as heck, offers the best protection I've ever seen on a case. I've dropped all 3 of those phones face down even and not damaged them. What I love about this is that this exact version of the case will have a model like that for the next Pixel phone, which undoubtedly will be QI2 or T2 or however you want to pronounce it. To be honest with you, I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. I always say Chi because I'm thinking of Kung Fu. It's got lots of chi times 2. But I'm, so I kind of will like to have that. That'll be kind of neat. And I like to know that I won't have to change my favorite case manufacturer in order to get it. Right now, I'd have to use a third-party cheap case if I wanted to do that.
You might not be able to see this real well, but this is the case that I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. That's I like that.
That's really cool. And
that is
so you
really
see the color
neat
of the phone, but you also have all that circuitry, and that just looks badass to me.
I I hope they didn't steal that from what's his name, the guy who cuts the phone, breaks the phones and scratches the glass, because that's his thing. That's what he does.
Oh, I don't know, but
he's actually sued one company because they were stealing his design. I think he sued him. Maybe he didn't sue him, but he definitely talked about it on some videos. So hopefully they did it first.
One thing that people are complaining about is, in order to accomplish this, you see the ring where the magnet is.
Mm-hmm.
It sits kind of close to that camera lens at the bottom, and so what they've had to do with some of the accessories, like for example the Peak Design wallet that goes on the back, you can't. I mean, you can use it; it works, but it blocks the corner of the lens, right? Because
that's weird.
The accessory is up higher than it was in the past. So what Samsung has done, and what other manufacturers are doing, is on their wallets, they're putting the magnet on the back of the wallet higher, so it drops the actual body of the wallet down, so it doesn't block the lens. So, it basically renders any, MagSafe type accessory not unusable, but if you wanted to use the camera with it attached, you might end up getting some of that attachment or the accessory in your picture.
That is, now that I think about it, at first I was like, I don't understand what you mean, but then I realized that depending on the accessory you're using, I'm frozen. Am I frozen on your end too?
Yeah, that's my fault, I guess.
Well, yeah, but how? Well, at least you can hear me. So this is me frozen as if it was the end of a 1970s sitcom. Thank you for joining us. This is the you know what? I think we're probably getting about the end of this one anyway. So I can't wave at you. I'll just say
wait, let's see if I can do this and then do that.
No. Oh, wait. Now. Hey, it's 1996. Here we are on this video phone. Mom, I'm calling you from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, that's weird how it did that. Anyways.
This is weird, too.
Yeah, but all this is on my end. Like, I don't know why it affected your end like that. That's weird, but
I have no idea.
I guess it's a good segue out. So, but yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on. And if you're into technology at all, you're gonna, I'm sure, be overloaded even the next week or two. I
thought that would work.
Yeah. So, keep your ears and eyes open. If you have any questions, comments, put them down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I'm Robert from the U.S. saying adios. And
I'm the cartoon version of Lionel from Toronto.
Saying peace out.
I'm Max Headroom.
Yeah.
I'm Max Headroom. 1980s video. All right. We're being an idiot now. So you guys all have a wonderful rest of the week. Hopefully better than the cold we're experiencing in Toronto right now. So adios, amigos.
Adios. Peace out.